So a little background. As if you watched the previous episode, 53, I did talk a little bit about how the original recording for that episode had been an unboxing that I had messed up, and it had been broken in the middle. I'll go into a little bit more of that in a bit. But so I wanted to salvage as much of that episode as I could. So what I decided to do as current John is to introduce how past John in that episode messed up. He accidentally turned off the recording and didn't realize what had happened. As a matter of fact, he blamed it on the equipment, as you know, humans are wont to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce his introduction. I'm going to send you back to past John, and then when the screw up occurs, I'm going to come back and sort of walk you through the stuff that was missed because, well, as I'll explain later, he screwed up. So let's fade over to him. This episode is doing me an excitement. Much unboxing. Cue the music. I am very excited. I'm not excited about the pollen that's in the air, which you can hear in my voice. It doesn't really cause me too much. It doesn't cause me reactions, but it does get in there and just, as anything that would be clogging you up, causes my voice to get all gruff. I mean, I don't have the smoothest voice to begin with, so when this stuff starts to affect me, Mr. Scissors, it really... Now, I have saved up a bunch of stuff that I wanted to unbox because I wanted to do a big... I didn't want to keep doing small unboxings and every time I got a little bit of something. And I have gotten a few things. This goes into the recycling pile. Oh, wow, balanced it and didn't balance it. You may recognize this box from a previous episode. And if you don't recognize it from a previous episode because you don't watch my episodes, well, shame on you. Where is this thing? See, I learned how to open these the last time. I was confused because this beautiful blue packaging dazzled me. And it took me a while to figure out how to open this last time. And, this styrofoam is going to cause me a problem. So I'm going to be very careful. Oh, good, it's taped together, so it's not going to just fall apart. And I have to do... Or that'll work. Either way, pull Mr. Scissors out again and cut the tape. I feel like I'm doing like a Mr. Rogers thing. I think I said this last time. This is yet another, again, don't laugh, but for my future bathroom, which I'm going to go look at a place this weekend. Not a permanent place, an interim place that I want to rent while I'm looking for places to buy. Yet another mermaid statue. Like I said, it's kind of girly, but I think the bathroom should be a little feminine. And once again, I don't know how to get this back into its package. Oh, I sit corrected by myself. Wow, that is a lot of styrofoam. That is a lot of styrofoam mess right there. Okay, this I don't want to throw because this is very delicate. I want to be very careful. And I am so looking forward to having an actual desk to sit at. That was funny, wasn't it? Did you see him swipe the keyboard? Him, me? Well, what it was is that there was all this sort of detritus from that unboxing of the mermaid that you saw on the keyboard, and he swiped it off and somehow turned off the OBS recording software and then didn't realize it for several minutes. Actually, he thought it was just a couple of seconds. He thought that the computer had somehow shut down due to a power setting. But when I reviewed the recordings, I realized what had happened. So the kind of funny thing is I get into this sort of ranting mode about stupid computer, but it was me. It was mea culpa. I swept and did something stupid and messed up my own podcast. So what you saw last, because he missed a couple of unboxings. I'm going to go back to the unboxings that he continued with, but he missed a couple of unboxings that I want to go into. One of the unboxings he did, which you saw the mermaid, and he was talking about putting it in his bathroom, and along with other mermaid statues that I have for my future bathroom, I have this octopus. Let me find a good way to show you this, because it's a really nice statue. It's very, I don't like when they get octopus wrong. And by the way, I don't like any, I mean, I might do a podcast on this itself. I don't like any of the plurals for octopus. Octopi is technically wrong. Octopuses just sounds terrible. And the Greek octopodes, I mean, you sound like come on, you sound like a jerk. I just like to say octopus. Just do like moose. We got that from Algonquian languages, moose, and they have a plural, and we just decided not to use it. We just say moose, moose. Let's just say octopus, octopus. So a lot of times when you see artwork about octopus, it's not really correct, but it's a little smoothed out, but it's pretty correct. So I like it, and I'm going to put that, to give my mermaids, I can't figure out how to put this back in. And once again, as you can see, look, crumbly styrofoam. Crumbly styrofoam caused the problem. Now, look at this. It's all over the place. It's like someone had a popcorn fight. So anyway, a few podcasts ago when I had unboxed a previous mermaid, not the one you just saw, but a previous one, I promised to show you a couple of others that I had gotten for my bathroom. And let me explain again. The reason I'm getting these rather girly things for my bathroom is that I believe that the bathroom should be a girly place. And I'm not being stereotypical. I know all girls aren't alike, but there's this. The bathroom is a place where a typical guy, if he doesn't think of grooming, he's going to end up looking like a mountain man. So when you go to the bathroom as a dude, which I am, and I live by myself, you need to be reminded to, clip your fingernails, clean yourself, groom yourself so that you don't look like a caveman. And my sort of my life hack, my sort of hacking my own brain, I know that if I make my bathroom really girly, when I go in there, it'll remind me to do these things. And again, I want to make very clear that I'm not saying that all girls are the same, or even that all guys. There are some guys out there that are just naturally good at this stuff. I'm not. I need that little extra push. I need to be reminded to do this stuff. So I thought, if you decorate your bathroom this way, it'll give you that little nudge. So the first one I got was this little statue here, which in general, I like nautical stuff. There's going to be nautical stuff all over my home. So this was the way that I wanted to bring those two things together, so that there's some coherence. She's designed to sit on a shelf. So if whatever shelf there is in my future bathroom, she's going to sit there. This one, which I want to be very careful because these things are very fragile. Again, she has this same stuff on her. She has this terrible styrofoam crumbles. She's flat on the back. She goes on a wall. So if, wherever the wall is, where there's not a shelf to set things, she's going to go there to sort of keep the whole place together. Okay. That was the mermaid section of this little interlude. I missed a couple of books in this interlude as well. And I want to go through the simplest one first, which I unboxed in the part that I missed, that Past John screwed up. Stone Age economics. Do I need to explain this? If you know me, if you watch my podcast, first of all, find something better to do. You're watching this? But if you do watch my podcast and you can't help yourself, Stone Age economics, this is a classic text. I mean, if you are interested in the Stone Age, you've probably heard of this because it's cited often. And even though it's a little dated, it was published in '72, and we've found so much stuff out. But it did sort of set the stage for trying to figure out how people were trading during the Stone Age, and they did some amazing trades and surprisingly long trade routes, considering that during this period, horse riding didn't appear till the Bronze Age. So these people were walking everywhere, but they were trading amber from the Baltic throughout Europe, and people were, they put on their walking shoes and they walked. I want to know more. So I bought this book to give me a chance to learn more. Now this next book, and I remember recording the original segment on this that was not captured. I was apparently just sitting there talking to a camera that was off. But I said that I wanted to preface this because I understand the initial reaction to this. The preface is that I am very interested in color theory and personality traits, the moral foundations like Jonathan Haidt and his researchers connected to him do. And I've been trying to integrate all of this in a rather nerdy way into a role-playing game system so that everything coheres in a single thing. Like typical role-playing systems, they might have a morality system, and then they have an attribute system, and then they have a magical system, and blah, blah. And I thought, wouldn't it be much simpler if all these things sort of cohered in something that was sort of color-coded? Well, as I'm looking around through color coding of different things, I kept bumping into the chakra theory from Hindu religion. So I decided to look around to find a book that was reasonably accessible, but also fairly academic. And I kept bumping into this guy's name, Gavin Flood. So I got this, the rather unfortunately named Tantric Bible. This sounds like a sex manual. It's not. So I got this so I could learn a little bit about the chakra system, which I was very happy to learn. Typically, a lot of like Western adaptations of this system are 7-part adaptations, and the quote from Gavin Flood that really sold me on looking into his research was that he said it's really a 6+1 system. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for, which if I ever do come out with this RPG, you'll see why. Because it's also kind of a 6+1 system. Anyway, this was the last thing that I unboxed. Well, actually it was not. I also unboxed a white sort of beachy shirt, which is what you're going to see me wearing when I come back, when the past John comes back. And I had done this little trick where I said, I want to put this shirt on, and then I had sort of thrown it up myself, pulled my other shirt off, put the other shirt on, and my idea was I was going to cut the video to look like it just appeared. Well, you didn't get to see that trick because I didn't realize until after I had the shirt on that I had turned off the OBS software, and of course blamed it on the computer, which you're going to see. You're getting ready to see me act like an idiot. But I decided to leave this in because I want to be full disclosure. I blamed my own user error on my equipment. Look at all the styrofoam. It's crazy. I'm going to have to get out the little Hoover. So let's just fade back to past John and see how he reacts to his little predicament. Ugh. That pause was because my laptop decided that it had had enough and it turned off. The screen did, at least, and I thought that the whole thing had gone down. I thought there had been some kind of a glitch. I don't know. I'm going to have to change my power settings so that it doesn't do that unless I tell it to. Anyway, these books, because I had been getting into people who were trying to address philosophy and quantum physics, specifically indeterminacy, and I have definite thoughts about consciousness and indeterminacy and how they fit together. I wanted to see what other people were thinking too. And one of these books, this one I'm not so sure about. This guy's a PhD, but I would never have called this book Real Magic. Ancient Wisdom, Modern Science, and a Guide to the Secret Power of the Universe. I'm really hoping that that's just a buy me title, and that there's something more substantive for it. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm always willing to give anybody give them a read and see if I like anything. And here's the thing: if I find that it's just not something that I believe about the real universe, I'm going to learn something about it that I could put into a fantasy novel or a fantasy story. Right? Win-win. This seems a little bit more serious. This is The Idea of the World. It's by Bernardo Kastrup. It's a multidisciplinary argument for the mental nature of reality. And what basically I'm trying to get to is this idea of getting away from the idea that consciousness emerges at some point as the universe becomes more organized, and to try to derive it like that consciousness simply becomes more organized. So at lower levels of organization than human beings, perhaps consciousness is still there. It's just not very highly organized, and therefore it's part of the basic. You don't have to imagine that it magically appears at some stage of evolution. You just have to say that we don't recognize it below a certain level of organization because we're not thinking about consciousness the right way. And this guy is, I saw some quotes from him, and he seems like something that's going to be a little bit more serious and, let's say, cautious, which is, you need caution when you're talking about stuff like this because you could just drift off into, well, chakras and stuff. Now people are going to get mad. Chakras are important. Okay, I wouldn't have bought a book on it if I didn't take it seriously. I'm just jokes. Just jokes. Now this is a shirt. I'm not going to give you the full story behind this shirt, but this is a shirt that I used to have, and for various reasons I no longer have. But I saw, once again, a bag within a bag. These people hate the environment. What is this? Oh my God. I'm not even green. I'm not even that green. You know, I'm not even that green. I'm the kind of guy who has even been, I've been accused of being a climate change denier, which I'm not. But in arguing against certain things that people have said, because everybody occasionally has a goofball that just goes a little too far. And although I believe in anthropogenic climate change, I do think that occasionally someone says something that I'm just like, come on now. Let's dial it back a little bit and, we need to address this issue, but we need to address it seriously. And because if you don't address problems seriously, well, you don't really address them. So this is this shirt. I love this shirt. I saw a photograph of myself. I don't think this is exactly the same shirt. I don't remember the collar being open like this, but whatever. It is the same print. And it was the print and the color, this orange, that I really liked. So, I've already changed shirts, so I can't really change shirts again, right? Or can I? I guess I can. So now I'm in a different shirt. Anyway, if you like these shenanigans and hijinks, and you know what? If you don't, check out the podcast I just did, which was about serious things, talking about genre in fiction, like novels, stage plays, and screenplays, which you might think, television shows and films, or the one before that, or the one before that. There's a lot of different stuff going on. I'm not just pulling stuff out of boxes and acting like an idiot on screen all the time. Most of the time, but not all the time. But if you did like this, and first of all, seek help, but also like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Thoughts of Leith.